The Enlightenment Trap. Why spiritual grandiosity is just narcissism you've been told to kill the ego, chase high vibes, and act enlightened. But here's the trap. Spiritual grandiosity often looks like awakening while behaving like narcissism. If you've ever felt superior because you meditate, or guilty for having low vibrations, you're not broken, you're caught in an ego costume. In this video, I'll show you exactly how ego hijacks spiritual practice through toxic positivity, bypassing, and inflated identities, and how to regain clarity fast. We'll map the mind using both Eastern psychology, Monas, Buddhi, Ahamkara, Samskara, Vasana and Klesha, and Western neuroscience, DMN and self-referential processing. Then apply practical tools to spot and dissolve ego traps in real time. Map of the mind, East meets West. Let's build a shared map, so we're not arguing with fog. In Eastern psychology, especially yogic and Vedantic frameworks, the mind isn't one thing. It's a stack of functions. This matters because the traps of grandiosity and bypassing hide in the seams between these functions. Start with Monas, the reactive, sensory-emotional stream. Think of it as the autopilot that generates immediate likes, dislikes, urges, and flinches. You don't choose to feel a surge when someone praises your aura. Monas fires. Next is Buddhi, the analytical, discerning capacity. Buddhi is the part that can weigh options, evaluate evidence, and choose. It's what you hope is steering the ship when you decide to set boundaries or leave a toxic group. Then there's Ahamkara, the eye maker, the sense of me, mine, and identity. Ahamkara binds your experiences into a coherent story. I'm an empath, I'm woke, I'm beyond drama. Finally, Samskara, impressions or memory traces etched by emotionally charged experience. They're like grooves in a record. When life's needle hits a familiar pattern, the old track plays automatically. Here's the key dynamic. Samskara's bias Monas. Ahamkara organizes those biases into an identity. And that identity then bends Buddhi's logic to protect itself. That's why someone can sincerely say, "I've transcended ego," and weaponize that sentence to avoid feedback. It's not that they're lying. Their Buddhi is serving Ahamkara's survival agenda. Now let's layer in Western science. The default mode network, DMN. A set of brain regions active during self-referential thinking. Stitches together past, present, and imagined future into a narrative of self. It's behind the meta-conclusion leap. I failed a launch, got criticized in a sangha, and struggled to sit still. Therefore, I'm unworthy. Or it's mirror. I had a bliss meditation. People DM me for advice, my reel popped. Therefore, I'm special. Studies of experienced meditators using fMRI suggest certain contemplative practices can reduce DMN activity and self-referential processing, which correlates with less rigid selfing. But here's the twist. If your Ahamkara hijacks the practice, look how spacious I am. The DMN can hum along underneath with a shinier story, the enlightened me. East and West converge on one insight. The self-story is plastic, context-sensitive, and easily biased. That plasticity is good news, we can change. But it's also why spiritual identity inflates so fast. The moment Monas tastes status, Ahamkara locks it in. I'm the conscious one. Buddhi then rationalizes the new narrative. I set boundaries, I only allow high-frequency people. If anyone challenges you, Samskara's flood, old shame, old rejection. So Monas defends with superiority or bypass. They're projecting. I've moved beyond that. Toxic positivity fits neatly into this map. When reality delivers pain, fear, or anger, Monas reacts. A healthy Buddhi would say, feel, name, integrate, act. But if Ahamkara is fused with a high-vibe identity, it forbids those states as threats. So Buddhi manufactures reframes that deny reality. Everything happens for a reason. Don't give it energy, love, and light. This mirrors critiques from clinicians and educators who note that suppressing negative effect increases distress over time. The result? Short-term relief, long-term pressure cooker. You're not resolving the wound, you're duct taping the warning light. Over time, the Samskara underneath grows stronger, and your identity hardens around a fragile positivity that can't tolerate truth. Spiritual bypassing is the same defense in robes. You reach for practices, meditation, non-dual quotes, psychedelics, not to meet what's arising, but to eclipse it, a pattern widely discussed by therapists and teachers, such as Teal Swan and clinicians writing on bypassing. You don't feel abandoned, you witness abandonment. You don't set a boundary, you transcend attachment. The bypass works because it numbs Monas. But Buddhi is now serving avoidance, and Ahamkara swells with specialness. I'm beyond human mess. The paradox. The more you insist you're above the wound, the more the wound runs your life from the basement. What about grandiosity specifically? Jungians warn about archetypal inflation, being possessed by king, queen, magician, goddess energy, rather than relating to it. See Robert Moore's work on grandiose archetypal energies. In our map, that's Ahamkara fusing with a high-status archetype, then recruiting Buddhi to defend the persona. You're not channeling the archetype, you're wearing it like armor. The litmus test. Does your consciousness increase humility and relatedness, or isolation and superiority? True contact with the archetypal deepens service. Inflation demands an audience. One more layer that Eastern teachers emphasize. Vasana and Klesha, terms from classical yoga psychology. Vasana are habitual mental grooves, the mind's muscle memory. Klesha are colorings, emotional dyes the mind splashes on neutral reality. Good/bad, pure/impure. Together, they show why you keep looping the same enlightened-sounding takes. I'm detached, low vibe, aligned. Those phrases feel true because they're familiar, not because they're accurate. The more you see Vasana and Klesha operating, the less hypnotized you are by your own narrative. So here's the synthesis. Monas fires, Samskara steers, Ahamkara claims, Buddhi explains, DMN narrates, Vasana repeats, Klesha colors. If you don't see this stack in motion, you'll confuse narcissism for awakening and avoidance for wisdom. If you do see it, you can start unbinding the system in real time. And that's where we're headed next. Spotting the ego's disguises and installing practices that return you to reality without losing heart. The Enlightenment Trap defined. Let's put a clean edge on the problem so you can spot it fast. The Enlightenment Trap is when the ego slips on spiritual clothing and calls itself truth. Instead of I'm better because I'm rich or hot, it becomes I'm better because I'm healed, conscious, surrendered, high vibe. The costume looks holy, but the behavior maps onto classic narcissism. Superiority, specialness, lack of self-critique, dismissal of others' reality, and an identity that must be defended at all costs. Here's the pattern in plain English. You have a meaningful practice or peak state, deep meditation, breath work, an ayahuasca ceremony, a flow performance, a retreat breakthrough. Monas tastes bliss and relief. Ahamkara rushes in and claims it. This is me now. Buddhi starts narrating. I've transcended. I'm not like asleep people anymore. My boundaries are energetic. The DMN stitches a story around it and calls it a self. Samskaras of past shame or insignificance feel soothed, so the mind locks the identity in place. From here, any challenge to the identity is treated as threat. What does defense look like? Spiritualized put-downs. You're projecting. Your frequency is dense. I don't engage with drama. That's ego talking. The face is serene. The move is domination. Why is this narcissism and not just confidence? Because the center of gravity isn't reality, it's self-image. Feedback is discarded when it hurts the image. Empathy shrinks when someone's pain is low vibration. Accountability gets reframed as unenlightened. Relationships turn into stages for wisdom displays instead of arenas for mutual growth. The person gets more isolated and more certain. That's textbook narcissistic drift. Only now you can quote a sutra while you do it. Toxic positivity is the trap's oxygen. It promises that feeling only good equals being good. So when grief, anger, fear, or jealousy arise, you don't meet them, you rebrand them. Love and light. Everything happens for a reason. Don't give it energy. Stay in alignment. In the short term, you feel powerful because you're overriding discomfort. In the long term, you get brittle. Your system starts to panic around ordinary human experience. The moment life pierces the bubble, a breakup, a bank account dip, a public call out, the whole house shakes because you never built the muscles for truth. Spiritual bypassing is the trap's escape hatch. Instead of engaging with life, you jump to ultimate frames. It's all one. There is no self. Pain is an illusion. I'm the witness. Those statements can be true at certain levels of perception, but used as a strategy, they're anesthesia. You numb monas, so you don't have to act in the world. You don't apologize, you observe the apologizer. You don't set a boundary, you release the attachment. Meanwhile, the unresolved samskara runs your choices under the radar. The person who transcended need still acts out need, just more covertly. Archetypal inflation turns the trap into theater. Contact with a powerful pattern. King, queen, magician, priestess, savior becomes identity. You're not in touch with a current. You are the current. How do you know you're inflated? Service turns into spectacle. You need an audience for your giving. Critique becomes blasphemy. Ordinary tasks feel beneath you. You speak from on high, not eye to eye. When life asks for practical humility, clean the mess, own the mistake, sit with someone's raw pain. The archetype can't lift a finger without applause. There's another variant that looks noble, the ascetic or martyr mask. I'm the one who sacrifices, holds space, never needs anything. It plays as purity, but often hides control, resentment, or covert superiority. After all I've done, no one meets me. It's still specialness, just upside down. The ego doesn't care if it's grand or wounded, as long as it's central. Psychology often frames this as a martyr complex, where self-sacrifice secures identity and covert power. The comparison engine seals the deal. The mind runs endless spiritual leaderboards. Who's more surrendered, whose practice is purer, who's least triggered. You feel momentary highs when you win, spirals of shame when you lose. Either way, the game keeps you out of reality and inside the scoreboard. Real growth isn't a race, it's intimacy with what is. So the Enlightenment Trap, defined cleanly, is this: using spiritual concepts, states, and roles to protect a self-image instead of dismantling it, to avoid pain instead of metabolizing it, to dominate instead of relate. It's not that your experiences aren't real. It's that your identity construction hijacks them and turns them into armor. The fix isn't rejecting spirituality. It's reorienting the whole stack toward truth. Practices that lower self-importance, language that welcomes full-spectrum emotion, relationships that can reflect you honestly, and habits that turn attention back to the living moment, not the story about the moment. When you do that, humility grows, curiosity returns, and your wisdom stops needing a stage to be real. Vasana, it's habits all the way down. If you want a fast way to deflate spiritual grandiosity, start here. Most of what you think and feel in a given day isn't fresh insight, it's habit. In Sanskrit, that groove is called Vasana. Think of it like mental muscle memory. If you've thought, I'm so aligned right now, 100 times after a good meditation, you'll think it again tomorrow, whether it's accurate or not. If you've reflexively labeled discomfort as low vibe, that label will keep firing even when the right move is to face it. The mind loves familiar moves. Vasana is the auto-completion of identity. Why does this matter? Because habits masquerade as truth. The sentence feels convincing precisely because you've rehearsed it. And when those grooves line up with a spiritual persona, the ego gets a conveyor belt. Same judgments, same phrases, same avoidance strategies, all dressed in holy language. The trap isn't that you have repetitive thoughts. The trap is forgetting they're repetitive. Let me show you exactly how this plays out. You finish a breathwork session and feel light, open, and kind. Beautiful. Manas registers pleasant sensation. Ahamkara immediately reaches for the stamp. I'm expanded. Buddhi starts narrating the lesson. See? When I'm elevated, everything flows. That narrative gets repeated after the next session, and the next. Soon, any state that isn't spacious feels like failure. A Vasana forms. Chase expansion, avoid contraction. Now, when grief shows up, the habit fires. Don't feed it, raise your frequency. You feel righteous for overriding it, but the grief becomes a stored Samskara. Multiply that by months, and you've got fragile positivity glued together by repetition. Flip the coin. You get called out by a friend. Hey, you steamrolled me in that meeting. If your habitual groove is defense disguised as wisdom, watch the auto-text kick in. I'm sensing projection. I don't engage in drama. I'm protecting my peace. The speed is the tell. Vasana moves faster than discernment. If you've said the same 3 lines to 3 different people across 3 months, that's not intuition. That's a pattern-protecting image. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Spot Vasana by its script quality. Real presence doesn't sound copy-pasted. It asks questions. It pauses. It can reverse itself. Habit can't do nuance. It defaults to slogans. Create a mental red flag for these phrases in your own mouth. Low vibration, staying in alignment. I've transcended that. I don't entertain. They might be true sometimes, but if they arrive on schedule, treat them as usual suspects. Now the practical. How do you unwind a Vasana without attacking yourself? 3 moves. First, label it gently in real time. When you notice the line forming, this is just a habit. That label shifts you from the fighting floor to the balcony. You're no longer debating the content. You're watching the groove try to run. That tiny shift gives you a choice you didn't have 5 seconds prior. Choice is the oxygen egoic habit can't breathe in. Second, run the freshness test. Ask, what here is actually new? If nothing in the current situation is being considered, no specific details, no curiosity about the other person, no bodily sensations acknowledged, you're not responding, you're replaying. Name one concrete, present moment fact before you speak. My chest feels tight, or you looked away when I said that, or I notice I want to dismiss this. One fresh observation interrupts the loop long enough for Buddhi to come back online. Third, change one micro-behavior. Don't aim to overhaul your personality. Pick a small lever that contradicts the groove. If your habit is high vibe only, schedule 10 minutes to feel one low emotion without fixing it. If your habit is no conflict spirituality, say one sentence of ownership in your next repair. I interrupted you twice. If your habit is superiority, ask one sincere question you can't predict the answer to. Behavioral friction rewires faster than insight alone. Common mistakes to avoid. Don't make Vasana the new villain. The goal isn't to eradicate habit, it's to stop worshipping it. Your nervous system loves efficiency. Keep the habits that serve reality, like pausing before you text back, and weaken the ones that serve image. Also, don't try to out-affirm a groove that's built on avoidance. Repeating a shinier thought over a deep pattern is like painting over rust. It looks good for a week. A quick story. A student told me, I can't stop procrastinating spiritual practice. We looked closer. Every time she sat, a reel started. If you really were devoted, you'd feel bliss by now. She'd quit at minute 3. That wasn't laziness. It was a Vasana of performance. We swapped the metric. Sit for 10 minutes, feel whatever is there, and write one sentence describing it without judging it. 2 weeks later, the habit cracked. Not because she pushed harder, but because she stopped feeding the narrative that made sitting unsafe. Here's the kicker. Vasana doesn't need you to believe it, only to repeat it. The moment you see that, humility grows naturally. You're not a fraud for thinking enlightened thoughts. You're human with a mind that loves loops. The practice is catching the loop faster, choosing reality over familiarity, and letting your identity get quieter each time. Do that, and spiritual grandiosity runs out of fuel. The script can't carry a self that isn't reading from it. Klesha/coloring. How mind paints reality. Now let's talk about the dye in the water. Klesha, or coloring. If Vasana is the groove that repeats, Klesha is the tint your mind adds to neutral reality before you even know you're looking. It's not what happened. It's the shade your mind throws on what happened. Good, bad, pure, impure, threat, treasure. And once the coloring lands, you don't see the thing, you see your paint. Here's the simple frame. Reality presents a pen. It's plastic, ink, and a tip. Your mind says, cheap, perfect, annoying. That label changes your experience, your emotion, your behavior, your memory. The pen didn't change. Your Klesha did. When it's spiritual, the labels sound loftier. Low vibration, not in alignment, pure consciousness, toxic. But it's the same move, a fast, pre-verbal verdict that then drives your day. Why does this matter for grandiosity and bypassing? Because coloring is how the ego keeps its story true. If your identity is, I'm high vibe, anger gets painted as danger. If your identity is, I'm awakened, critique gets painted as projection. If your identity is, I'm the wounded healer, requests for reciprocity get painted as selfish. Once the die drops, Buddhi isn't free, it's justifying the tint. You'll feel this in your body first. Watch the micro-tightening when someone says, can I give you feedback? Before a word lands, the color floods, threat. Or notice the expansion when someone says, you're so wise. The color, specialness, arrives before the compliment finishes. Klesha is fast. It outruns thought. And because it's so quick, it feels like truth instead of tone. Let me give you practical tells. Coloring loves absolutes and purity language. If your first felt sense is always, never, of course, obviously, you're probably wearing tinted glasses. It also loves moralizing neutral events. A missed text becomes disrespect. A boundary becomes abandonment. A request becomes attack. None of that is objective. It's interpretive paint. Here's a quick exercise to expose Klesha in action. Pick a recent emotionally hot moment. A DM you didn't like, a partner's sigh, a colleague's note. Write the event as surveillance footage. No adjectives, no motives. Message came at 10:02. It said X. My heart sped up. Then write your immediate labels. Disrespectful, unspiritual, passive-aggressive. Now ask, which words belong to the footage and which are die? That separation alone is disarming. You start to see how much gets added after reality hits. Another angle. Klesha stacks on your Samskara history. If you have an old imprint around rejection, an unanswered call gets colored as, I'm not worthy. If you have a savior imprint, someone's pain gets colored as, only I can fix this. That's why too. People can live the same event and report two different worlds. They're not lying, they're living in different palettes. So what do we do? 3 moves again: notice, name, neutralize. Notice, cultivate microdetection. The moment a strong label arrives, pause. Feel your body. Name the tone: harshness, syrupy sweetness, disgust, or. Don't judge the tone, just clock it. Oh, my mind just colored this as dirty. That awareness is like turning on white light in a room of colored bulbs. The objects don't vanish, the hue stops dominating. Name. Say the coloring out loud in simple language. I'm painting this feedback as attack. I'm painting my sadness as low vibration. I'm painting my generosity as saintly. There's power in exposing the adjective. A label named is a label loosened. Your Buddhi can re-enter with questions instead of defenses. Neutralize. Insert a reality check that doesn't swing to the opposite extreme. You're not trying to repaint negative as positive. You're trying to see the thing as the thing. Ask, what else could this be? Then list 2 plausible alternatives that don't flatter your story. Maybe they were rushing. Maybe my tone was sharp earlier. Follow with 1 grounded behavior. I'll ask, is there a better time? I'll say, I felt dismissed, can we talk? Action metabolizes coloring faster than rumination. Common pitfalls. Don't color the coloring. People hear about Klesha and then shame themselves for having one. I'm so judgmental, I'm impure. That's just more dye. This time on top of the dye. You can't shame your way to clarity. Also, don't weaponize Klesha language on others. You're just coloring me as toxic is a slick shutdown. Keep the lens on your mind first, then invite dialogue. A story to land it. A client was convinced her team was low frequency. Meetings felt heavy. She felt burdened as the only awake one. We ran the surveillance script. Footage, deadlines missed, cameras off, few questions asked. Coloring, lazy, unconscious, draining. We tested alternative hues. Burnout after layoffs, unclear priorities. They're intimidated by me. She changed one behavior. Started meetings with a 2-minute check-in, clarified the top priority, and asked one person each to own a next step. 2 weeks in, energy shifted, no crystals required. Her original labels weren't evil, they were incomplete. Seeing the die gave her choices. Here's the deeper payoff. When you see coloring as coloring, humility grows. You stop mistaking your palette for reality. Compassion sneaks back in because you realize everyone's wearing glasses, including you. And slowly, the need to be the purest, highest, most correct person loosens. You don't have to be colorless to be clear. You just have to know when your paint is on the brush. Toxic positivity, the denial disguised as light. Good vibes only sounds harmless until you watch it amputate parts of your humanity. Let's make this concrete. Your partner says, I'm hurt you cancelled last minute. A healthy Buddhi would slow down, feel the sting, ask a question, and repair. Toxic positivity slaps a smile over the alarm. Let's not focus on the negative. I'm protecting my peace. It feels empowered because you escaped discomfort. In reality, you just duct taped the warning light and kept flying. Why is this so sticky? Because it promises control. If I can think only bright thoughts, reality will match. But the mind that clings to brightness isn't manifesting, it's resisting. Resistance eats energy. You spend your day policing language, filtering emotions, avoiding people who feel heavy, and reframing problems so hard you never actually solve them. Short term, you feel buoyant. Long term, you get brittle. The first real wave knocks you sideways because you never built the muscles that grow in honest water. Let's drop it into our map. Monos registers pain, fear, anger, grief. Ahamkara, fused with a high vibe identity, treats those states like contaminants. Buddhi is conscripted to sanitize. Out come the slogans. Everything happens for a reason. Don't give it energy. Stay in alignment. Samskara's underneath. Old abandonment, old shame. Don't disappear. They store. Over time, the storage unit swells. Your positivity has to get louder to keep the door shut. That's why people in this trap often escalate. More quotes, more rules, less tolerance. It's not enlightenment, it's containment. A quick test. Can your positivity sit next to someone's raw pain and do nothing for 30 seconds? No fixing, no reframe, No silver lining? If the answer is no, what you have isn't positivity. It's avoidance dressed in light. Here's another tell: denial of cause and effect. You choose into something with inherent negatives. Start a business, have a child, train for a marathon, and then shame yourself for feeling tired, scared, or overwhelmed. You decide fatigue is low vibration instead of a normal cost of your choice. That's not spirituality, that's magical thinking. Healthy positivity acknowledges both sides of reality, the gift and the bill, and the relationship fallout is real. When you chronically nullify negative data, people stop telling you the truth. They don't feel seen or safe, so they withdraw or escalate. Escalation looks like this. They get louder, angrier, more dramatic, because that's the only way to pierce your bubble. You interpret their escalation as proof they're toxic, which justifies more distance, which creates more pain. The loop feeds itself. Let me show you how denial creeps into self-talk. You feel anxious before a difficult conversation. Instead of naming it, I'm scared, you decide, I'm calm, I'm powerful, I'm light. If those sentences help you access courage while staying connected to your body, great. But if they float you above your body, you lose contact with the very signals that would guide you. Tightness in your chest, heat in your face, the urge to speed up. You're not regulated, you're dissociated with glitter on top. So what's the better method? It's not be negative. It's reality plus skill. Try this 3-part practice. Feel it fully, briefly, on purpose. Set a timer for 2 minutes. Name the exact emotion in your body: tight throat, sinking stomach, buzzing forearms. Don't story it. Don't fix it. Just let Monas empty the charge. Most waves pass faster than the mind predicts if you stop arguing with them. Name the need or fact that the feeling points to. I'm angry because my boundary was crossed. I'm afraid because the deadline is unclear. That's Buddhi re-entering with usefulness instead of reframe theatre. Take one grounded action that honors both truth and relationship. I'm going to ask for a new deadline. I'll own that I cancelled late and make a clear plan for next time. Action metabolizes feeling. Positivity without action is perfume on a spill. Language matters. Swap slogans for specificity. Instead of don't give it energy, try, I'll devote 15 minutes to worry and then send one email. Instead of everything happens for a reason, try, given this happened, what's the next wise move? Instead of protecting my peace, try, I'm pausing to regulate so I can engage. Precision keeps you in reality. Slogans keep you in costume. Common pitfalls. Don't swing to nihilism. Feeling fear isn't worshipping fear. It's listening for data. Don't weaponize truth either. I'm just being real is often permission to be cruel. The goal is accuracy with compassion. A quick story. A client ran a team with high vibe only culture. Cameras on, smiles up, gratitude check-ins. Morale quietly cratered after layoffs. She labeled the heaviness low frequency. We tested a change. Begin meetings with a 2-minute honest pulse. 1 word how you are, and 1 concrete ask. For support. Within a month, productivity rose, and so did warmth. She didn't abandon positivity, she anchored it to reality. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Positivity is healthy when it's an outcome of contact with truth, not a substitute for it. Let your light include the whole spectrum, or it will blind you. Spiritual bypassing, when practice protects ego. Spiritual bypassing is when we use spiritual ideas or practices to dodge reality instead of meeting it. It feels advanced because the language is advanced, non-duality, detachment, surrender, witnessing. But the function is simple: avoid pain, protect identity, keep the costume intact. In our map, bypassing numbs Monas, recruits Buddhi to justify avoidance, and lets Ahamkara crown itself enlightened. Here's how it shows up in everyday life. You feel jealousy toward a friend's success. Instead of naming jealousy, you jump to, there is no self to be jealous. That statement might be true at an ultimate level, but you're using it as anesthesia at the human level. The jealousy doesn't disappear. It drops into Samskara and steers you from the basement. Subtle digs, distance, quiet comparison. Or your partner asks for repair. Instead of accountability, you say, I'm not attached to stories. Translation, I refuse to engage where it's uncomfortable. Another classic, replacing boundaries with lofty language. You don't want to have the hard conversation with a family member, so you say, I'm releasing expectations. That sounds serene. It's actually conflict avoidance. Or you spiritualize procrastination. I'm waiting for alignment, when what's needed is one concrete next step. The bypass looks calm, it creates chaos later. Psychedelics and peak states can turbocharge this trap. A blissful ceremony or meditation gives you real contact with spaciousness. Beautiful. But if Ahamkara claims it as identity, I'm done with trauma, I've transcended triggers. Buddhi will start filtering out any data that contradicts that story. Triggered? That's old me. This is just energy moving. You don't repair, you don't adjust, you don't apologize. You watch yourself not doing those things and call it witnessing. The result isn't freedom, it's insulation. Contemporary integration literature repeatedly warns that insight without behavioral change can increase rigidity. The enlightened narcissist often hides here. I used to be like you before I awakened. I don't resonate with dense frequency. Those lines aren't wisdom, they're distance. True expansion makes you more available to life, not less. If your practice reduces your capacity to sit with someone's pain without fixing them, you're not transcending, you're escaping. Now, let me show you exactly how to detect bypass in real time. Look for these 3 tells. 1. Speed. If a spiritual sentence pops out reflexively the moment discomfort arises, that's likely Vasana-driven bypass, not fresh insight. 2. Altitude. If your language floats above specifics, energy, alignment, projection, instead of naming concrete facts, you're probably avoiding the scene on the ground. 3. Impact denial. If people keep telling you they feel dismissed, unseen, or stonewalled, and your answer is always, that's your ego. You've outsourced all responsibility to other people's development. So what's the better method? Use practice to contact reality, then act. A simple protocol: feel, find, do. Feel. Name the exact body sensations for 90 seconds. Heat, tightness, buzzing, without story. This lets monist discharge instead of hijack. Find. Identify the specific truth or need underneath. I'm angry because you spoke for me. I'm scared because the plan is unclear. That's Buddhi serving reality. Do. Take one grounded step. Ask a question, set a boundary, own your part, request a change. Action metabolizes charge in a way mantras can't. Language swaps help. Replace. I'm not attached with I care about this and here's my boundary. Swap. I'm protecting my peace for I need 10 minutes to regulate so I can engage. Change. Everything is perfect. To given this happened, what's the next wise move? Precision keeps you honest. If you're deep in non-dual practice, add dual competencies on purpose. Schedule relative reality reps. 1 repair conversation a week, 1 logistical action you've been spiritualizing, 1 act of service with no audience. Non-dual insight plus relational skill is integration. Insight without skill is a bypass factory. A story to ground this. A leader told me, my team is stuck in ego. I'm past that. His tells were textbook. Fast spiritualizing, altitude language, and zero impact ownership. We ran the feel, find, do protocol. He admitted heat in his chest before feedback, found the belief. If I'm wrong, I'm not legit, and chose 1 action. Start each meeting by inviting 1 critique of his decision from last week. 2 weeks later, friction dropped, ideas increased, and his lightness didn't need to mute. Anyone. Common mistakes to avoid. Don't shame yourself for bypassing. Shame is just another bypass. Now you're avoiding the avoidance with self-attack. Notice, name, adjust. And don't weaponize this segment to diagnose everyone else. The cleanest use of bypass literacy is on your own mind first. Then you can invite others into clarity without superiority. Remember the litmus test. Does your practice increase humility, accountability, and relatedness in plain life? If yes, you're integrating. If not, your practice might be protecting image. The goal isn't to stop using spiritual tools. It's to stop using them as hiding places. When your meditation cushion and your calendar agree, bypass loses its grip. The 8 ego traps on the path. Let's make this practical. I'll walk you through 8 ego traps you can spot in the wild, with tells, why they happen in the mind stack we mapped, and what to do in the next 5 minutes. Spiritual bypassing. The move, swap human specificity for cosmic generalities. There is no self. It's all perfect, right when repair is needed. Mechanism. Monos fires discomfort. Ahamkara, fused with above it, recruits Buddhi to float. Tells. Altitude language. No nouns or verbs about what actually happened. Zero impact ownership. 5-minute fix. Feel 90 seconds. Name 1 concrete fact. Take 1 repair action today. Toxic positivity. The move. Outlaw negative states. Police language. Slap a reframe on pain. Mechanism. Ahamkara identifies as high vibe. Buddhi sanitizes Samskara's store. Tells, allergic to the words sad, angry, afraid. Escalates to slogans under stress. 5-minute fix. Set a 2-minute timer, describe body sensations without story, then name one need and one next step. If you can't sit with a friend's raw feeling for 30 seconds, you're not positive, you're avoiding. The Enlightened Narcissist. The move, use awareness to separate and dominate. I used to be like you before I awakened. Mechanism. Ahamkara fuses with status. Buddhi explains superiority. DMN narrates the chosen one. Tells, feedback is always your projection. Service needs an audience. Humility declines as certainty rises. 5-minute fix. Ask one sincere question you can't predict the answer to, and reflect back exactly what you heard before adding any teaching. Archetypal inflation. The move, where king, queen, magician, priestess as identity instead of relating to it. Mechanism. Ahamkara claims the archetype. Buddhi defends the costume. Vasana repeats the speech. Tells, everyday tasks feel beneath you. Critique is blasphemy. Generosity comes with theatre. 5-minute fix. Do one unglamorous act of service anonymously. Clean the kitchen, send a quiet thank you, fix a small mess you made. Intellectual armor. The move, analyze feelings instead of feeling them. Quote Jung to dodge, I'm hurt. Mechanism. Buddhi overextends to protect Ahamkara. Monas gets muted, then leaks later. Tells, paragraphs of theory, 0 first-person emotion words, quick topic shifts when asked, what do you feel? 5-minute fix. Speak one sentence with the template. I feel X about Y because Z, then stop. No citations. Let the room breathe for 10 seconds. The martyr/savior mask. The move, overgive to earn worth, then resent, or refuse help because no one understands my path. Mechanism. Samskaras of neglect meet Ahamkara's identity as selfless. Klesha paints requests as selfishness. Tells, after all I do, exhaustion with secret scorekeeping, isolation framed as purity. 5-minute fix. Make one clean ask you'd usually swallow, and say no to one sacrifice you'd usually make for image. The comparison junkie. The move, turn growth into a leaderboard, who's more surrendered, less triggered, more in alignment. Mechanism. DMN computes rank. Ahamkara stabilizes via better/worse. Vasana autoloads the scoreboard. Tells, compulsive checking of others, spikes of pride/shame, spirituality feels like a race. 5-minute fix. Delete one metric source for 24 hours and write 3 sentences starting with on my path today. No one else appears in those sentences. The no ego. The move, claim ego death to make the ego unchallengeable. I don't have an ego anymore. Mechanism. Ahamkara relocates to the idea of its absence. Buddhi becomes its PR. Feedback is framed as lower vibration. Tells, critiques bounce off the halo, growth stalls, relationships feel cold. 5-minute fix. State one concrete mistake you made this week, and one change you'll implement. Ask someone affected, did I miss anything? Then listen. A few cross-trap diagnostics. Speed is a siren. If a spiritual sentence arrives before you've registered a body sensation, you're likely in habit, not insight. Altitude is another. The higher your words float from nouns and verbs, the more likely you're avoiding ground truth. Impact refusal seals it. If multiple people report the same impact, and you only diagnose their egos, your Buddhi is serving Ahamkara. Now 2. Universal interrupters you can apply anywhere. Surveillance language. Describe the scene as if on camera for 10 seconds. No motives, no adjectives. Then add one feeling word and one need. That recenters Buddhi on reality. Behavioral friction. Change one small action that contradicts the trap. Ask a question, name an emotion, do the unglamorous task, set the boundary. Behavior rewires grooves faster than belief alone. The goal isn't to never touch these traps. Everyone does. The goal is to spot the costume sooner, choose contact over image, and let humility do quiet work. When your practice increases accountability, relatedness, and plain usefulness, you're moving. When it increases insulation, certainty, and performance, pause. The dragon isn't killed, it's befriended and leashed. Jungian inflation, possessed by the archetype. There's a difference between contacting an archetype and getting possessed by it. Contact feels like being plugged into a bigger current for a moment, clearer, steadier, more purposeful. Possession feels like the current hijacks your name tag. You stop relating to the king, queen, magician, warrior, priestess, or savior, you become it. And once Ahamkara fuses with that power, Buddhi turns into its bodyguard. Critique becomes blasphemy. Practical life becomes beneath you. Service becomes theater. That's archetypal inflation in plain language. Here's the psychology underneath. In our stack, a peak state lights up monos. Energy, confidence, warmth. A dormant Samskara of inadequacy gets soothed. Ahamkara rushes in to claim the relief. This is me. The DMN stitches a story. I'm stepping into my king. Now Buddhi starts defending the costume. Of course I made that call. I'm holding a higher vision. The mind is not lying. It's conserving a fragile identity that finally feels big enough. Inflated, yes. Stable, no. A telltale sign of inflation is altitude creep. Your language climbs away from nouns and verbs into grand roles. I'm stewarding a frequency. I'm embodying divine feminine. That might be fine in a ceremonial frame. But when the trash needs taking out and your partner asks for help, archetypal identity often balks. The king doesn't carry bags. The priestess needs ceremony. The magician has a download right now. Everyday tasks feel low vibe. Not because they are, but because the costume can't bend. Another tell is the audience dependency. Real contact with archetypal energy tends to deepen humility and anonymous service. Inflation needs a crowd. Giving has a spotlight. Repairs become speeches. Feedback sessions turn into sermons. If your generosity feels flat when no one knows you did it, that's not archetype. That's Ahamkara demanding applause. There's also the policing of critique. When you're relating to a pattern, critique helps you refine how it moves through you. When you're possessed, critique threatens the entire self-story. That's why inflated speech leans on purity tests. Only high-frequency feedback lands. Or it flips to diagnosis. You're threatened by my power. Notice how those lines close the loop. No data can enter. Inflation doesn't only come in shiny forms. There's the inverted version, the wounded royal, the martyred saint. Only I carry the weight. No one meets me at my depth. It reads like humility, but sits on the same pedestal. Special suffering. The ego doesn't care if it's grand or tragic. It cares that it's central. The archetype is still a shield against ordinary, neutral life. So how do you relate without being ruled? First, name the archetype explicitly as a part, not a self. There's a king energy online. That sentence keeps you in relationship to it. Part's language shrinks Ahamkara's fuse. You're hosting a powerful guest, not ceding the deed to your house. Second, tether the energy to a function, not a throne. Ask, what is the useful behavior this archetype enables right now? King, choose and protect. Queen, nurture and allocate. Warrior, execute and guard boundaries. Magician, translate and solve. Priestess, attune and ritualize. Then do the smallest practical move that fits. Make a call, set a limit, write the SOP, light the candle, and have the hard talk. Function channels charge. Titles inflate it. Third, build ballast with unglamorous, audience-free service. Inflation floats, ballast grounds. Choose one weekly chore you do without announcing. Dishes, rides, quiet repair. This isn't penance, it's integration. You're teaching your nervous system that power and humility can coexist in one body. Fourth, install critique ritual. Pick two people who see you clearly. Ask for concrete impact, not cosmic mirroring. What worked, what landed poorly. Reflect back what you heard before you explain anything. Archetypal contact that can metabolize feedback tends to grow depth instead of height. Fifth, watch for Vasana scripts attached to identities. If your mouth autoplays, I'm holding the vision. I walk with queens, or this is sacred, hit pause. Ask, what here is actually new? Then name one sensory fact, tight jaw, their tone, the deadline, and one next behavior. Freshness pops habit bubbles. And a story briefly. A founder started signing emails as steward of the mission. His team felt small. He insisted they were triggered by power. We tested ballast and function. He dropped the title, scheduled one anonymous fix per week, and began opening meetings with one mistake he made and one change he'd implement. Within a month, the team re-engaged. His leadership didn't dim, it deepened. He was still in contact with a king current. He just stopped wearing the crown to breakfast. Final litmus. Archetypal contact widens your capacity to be with others as equals and to do plain work with care. Inflation narrows both. If your power breaks connection, resists chores, and needs constant defense, you're possessed, not empowered. Step down a stair, breathe, name the part, do the next useful thing. The crown sits straighter when you remember it's on loan. Samskara to Ahamkara, how identity hardens. Let's zoom into the moment where an experience turns into a self. A Samskara starts as an emotionally charged imprint, an argument, a humiliation, a win, a bliss state. Monos registers the surge, your body locks a snapshot, and the mind leaves a breadcrumb. On its own, that breadcrumb is neutral, like a saved waypoint on a map. The hardening begins when life hits a similar cue and the old charge boots up faster than presence. The needle drops on the same track. Now watch the assembly line. First, Samskara primes Monos. You see a mentor frown, and your chest tightens before a thought exists. That's the echo. Next, Ahamkara steps in with an offer. Let me explain you to you. It grabs the feeling and pinches it into identity. I'm not respected. Or its mirror, I'm above this. Once Ahamkara stamps the label, Buddhi is recruited to write policy. It starts generating reasons that keep the label safe. They're threatened by my growth, or people always abandon me. The DMN obligingly stitches these into a story arc that seems inevitable. Repetition cements it. Each time the loop runs unchallenged, Vasana lays another layer of lacquer. The sentence gets quicker, smoother, more convincing. Klesha colors neutral stimuli to match. A neutral text feels cold. A simple boundary feels like attack. Before long, the Samskara isn't an old imprint anymore. It's become a lens. And lenses don't feel like beliefs, they feel like reality. Two details matter here. One, identity often forms around relief, just as much as around pain. The day you nailed a retreat share and got praised, a Samskara of specialness lodged. Next time you feel uncertain, Ahamkara offers that costume. I'm the wise one. Buddhi then filters for confirming evidence. DMs likes, the couple of people who always seek your counsel. The parts that don't fit, missed empathy, reactive tone, get filed under their projection. Pain carves identity, so does glory. Both can calcify if you don't keep them moving. 2. Hardening accelerates in isolation. When there's no relational friction, your narrative becomes a closed ecosystem. The same friends repeat the same slogans. Every challenge can be dismissed as low vibe. Without fresh data, Buddhi gets lazy. It stops testing. Ahamkara loves that environment. It doesn't have to negotiate with reality. It can run PR full-time. So how do we interrupt the hardening without shaming the parts doing their best to protect you? Start by catching the exact moment Ahamkara claims the experience. You can hear the shift in grammar. Samskara, tight chest, heat rush. Ahamkara, I am X. When you feel the I am form, label it as a move. Claim detected. That breaks the hypnotic merge. You've named identity as an action, not a fact. Next, give Buddhi a better job. Instead of defending the claim, have it investigate conditions. Ask 3 concrete, present tense questions. What exactly happened? What did I feel in my body? What did they actually do or say? Keep it surveillance style. This pulls cognition out of storycraft and into observation. In that light, some claims fall apart on their own. Others reduce. I felt dismissed in this moment. Not, I am unworthy. Then work both ends of the spectrum behaviorally. 4 pain-formed identities. Practice one act that contradicts the inevitability. If your stamp is, I'm always overlooked, make one clean ask today and tolerate the discomfort of waiting for an answer. If your stamp is, I'm the only one who gets it, ask one colleague for guidance and follow it precisely. For glory-formed identities, schedule one anonymous, unglamorous service per week. Identity loosens when function returns. Bring in relational ballast. 2 people who will reflect impact, not your aura. Install a rhythm, monthly check-ins where you ask, where did my story distort the scene? Your job is to mirror back what you heard before explaining anything. This retrains Ahamkara to share the mic. Over time, it learns that I am can coexist with tell me more. Finally, dissolve the all-or-nothing glue with parts language. Instead of I am unlovable, or I am awakened, try a part of me feels unlovable, or a part of me touched spaciousness. That single shift repositions Ahamkara as a coordinator of parts rather than the entire self. It can still organize experience without colonizing it. Here's the payoff. When Samskara remains an imprint, not a crown, experience can move through without needing to be about you. You get to feel fully, decide wisely, and act cleanly, without installing a new I am every time life turns the dial. Identity becomes a light scaffolding you can adjust, not a fortress you have to defend. And in that looseness, humility isn't a performance. It's a byproduct of seeing clearly. Control versus elimination of ego. Let's clear up the biggest misunderstanding on the path. You don't need to delete your ego to be free. You need to stop letting it drive. Total ego. Elimination isn't the goal of a functional human life. You need a coordinating self to pay taxes, raise kids, and decide lunch. The question is, who's in charge when it matters, clarity or costume? Think of ego like fire. Too little and you freeze. No initiative, no boundaries, no authorship. Too much and you burn the house down. Grandiosity, defensiveness, bypassing. Control means you place the fire in a hearth. It warms, it cooks, but it doesn't roam the carpets at night. Elimination tries to toss the fire out the window. You'll end up cold, then secretly lighting matches again. In the map we've built, control looks like this. Ahamkara still assembles me. But Buddhi sets the terms, Monas is consulted, Samskara is monitored, and the DMN narrates without being worshipped. Elimination attempts to exile Ahamkara altogether. That usually backfires. The no-self, identity becomes the most fragile identity of all, because any hint of preference, pain, or pride threatens the whole performance. You'll defend your egolessness more fiercely than you ever defended your old self. Here's a practical feel of control. You notice a surge of pride after praise. Instead of shaming it or performing humility, you name the part. A proud piece just lit up. Buddhi checks conditions. Did the work serve? Is there feedback to integrate? Then you choose a behavior that keeps the fire in the hearth. Say thank you, write down the lesson, and do one quiet, useful task with no audience. The energy moves. It doesn't calcify into, I am superior. Another example, you're stung by critique. Elimination tries to float above it. There is no one to be criticized. That's bypass. Control acknowledges the sting in your body, repeats the surveillance sentence of what was said, and asks for one concrete example. If the feedback is off, you can still appreciate the intent and clarify your position. If it's on, you can own impact and adjust. Either way, ego stays leashed. It doesn't go for the jugular or run the meeting. Control asks for ballast. Install 3 anchors that make inflation inconvenient. 1. A service practice with 0 applause, weekly non-negotiable. 2. A critique ritual with 2 people who won't flatter you, monthly, specific impact only. 3. A reality rep each week where you translate spiritual insight into a small, measurable act. 1 call, 1 boundary, 1 repair. Anchors don't kill ego, they keep it useful. These mirror evidence-based behavior change principles: specificity, repetition, and feedback loops. Language matters here. I'm dissolving ego often breeds inner war. Try, I'm reducing self-importance. That target is clean. Or, I'm relating to this part. That keeps Ahamkara as coordinator, not king. When you miss, resist turning it into a referendum on your worth. A part of me grabbed for status today. Name it, learn, move. You'll run into 2 common traps. The first is sanctified smallness, making yourself tiny as proof you're not egotistical. That's still ego inverted. If you perma-downplay your gifts, you force others to carry what you refuse to own. Control includes right-sizing your power. Claim it in service, not for spectacle. The second trap is outsourcing control to rules, rigid protocols, purity tests, spiritual diets. When Buddhi handcuffs life with rules, Ahamkara hides inside compliance pride. The work is subtler, moment-to-moment discernment, not moral math. Let me give you a compact practice loop that trains control daily. Feel 30 seconds of raw sensation when a charge hits. Heat, tightness, flutter, no story. Frame 1 surveillance sentence about what actually happened, no adjectives. Function 1 next action that serves the scene, not your image. Ask, own, clarify, or do the small work. Finish 1 humility rep. Thank someone, clean something, or write 1 lesson learned. That's a 4-step leash. A quick story. An experienced teacher told me, my students put me on a pedestal. It's dangerous. Elimination would try to reject authority entirely. He chose control. He started every course with 2 standing practices. 1 anonymous act of service each week and 1 public mistake share from his last class. Authority stayed, but self-importance dropped. Students learned faster. He kept his fire in the hearth. Here's the litmus test that never lies. Does your path increase your capacity to be corrected, to do unglamorous work, and to relate as an equal while still leading when needed? If yes, you're controlling ego. If your path increases insulation, fragile pride, and the need to perform purity, You're chasing elimination and feeding the dragon. Keep the fire. Build the hearth. The anti-grandiosity protocol. Let's make this actionable. If grandiosity, bypassing, and toxic positivity are costumes the ego loves, this protocol strips the wardrobe and returns you to reality without crushing your spirit. It's 5 parts, done in order, fast enough to use in a hallway after feedback or at your desk after a praise spike. Step 1, drop to body, then facts. 90 seconds max, name 3 body sensations out loud. Tight throat, hot cheeks, fluttering gut. Then speak 1 surveillance sentence about the scene. No motives, no adjectives. You said, "We need to talk about your delivery," and my chest tightened. That puts Monas on the table and puts Buddhi back on the ground. No altitude language yet. The goal isn't calm, it's contact. Step 2, identify the identity move. Listen for the I am that tries to install itself. I'm not respected, I'm beyond this, I'm the only adult here. Say, claim detected. I am X. That simple label prevents Ahamkara from fusing with the moment. It's not self-attack, it's a gentle hand on the steering wheel. Step 3, reality check with 2 questions. What else could this be that doesn't flatter or condemn me? What would a camera have seen me do? Answer both in 1 or 2 sentences. It could be they were rushed. A camera would show I interrupted twice. This makes Buddhi serve truth instead of image. If new data arises, great. If not, you've still weakened the story's inevitability. Step 4, choose function over performance. Ask, what's the smallest useful behavior now? Then do it within the hour. Useful looks like: ask 1 clarifying question, own 1 impact, set 1 clean boundary, or take 1 logistic step. Not useful: write a paragraph about alignment, teach a principle, or post a wisdom quote. Function metabolizes charge, performance recycles it. Step 5, install ballast. 1 humility rep with no audience. Clean a mess you made, write a thank you note, fix 1 detail no one would credit you for. This isn't penance. It's training your nervous system to enjoy power and ground at the same time. Over days and weeks, ballast makes inflation inconvenient. You can compress this into a quick loop. Feel, fact, flag, function, ballast. The mnemonic helps under pressure. Use it whenever you notice speed, altitude, or impact denial. The 3 sirens we covered. You'll feel the shift, less theater, more agency. Now, a few micro tools that fit inside the steps. Language swap pack. Replace purity phrases with precision. Protecting my peace becomes, I need 10 minutes to regulate so I can engage. Not entertaining low vibes becomes, I'm saying no to this topic right now and happy to revisit at 3 p.m. I'm not attached becomes, I care about this, and here's my boundary. Precision shrinks the stage. Question pack for grandiosity spikes. Ask, who benefits if I'm right-sized here? What's 1 thing beneath me that I'll do anyway? What would be obvious if I wasn't trying to be special? Answer fast, act once. These questions puncture the costume without making you small. Reflection pack for after action. 2 prompts. What impact did my behavior have on others? What did I learn that changes my next move? Keep it to 4 sentences. Reflection without brevity becomes intellectual armor. Brevity keeps you honest. Critique ritual. Pick 2 people who can tell you the unvarnished truth. Ask monthly, what worked? What landed poorly? Reflect back exactly what you heard before you explain a thing. Then name 1 change you'll make. This retrains your system to metabolize feedback as fuel, not attack. Service rhythm. 1 weekly act of service with 0 applause. Think dishes, rides, editing someone else's doc, answering the unglamorous email. If you feel the urge to tell someone, wait 24 hours. If you still want to share, include what you learned, not what you did. Service is the antidote to stage addiction. Boundary script. Grandiosity and bypass both avoid clear boundaries. Use a clean template. When X happens, I feel Y. I need Z. Can you do that? If you're on the other side, receiving a boundary, try. Thank you for the clarity. Here's what I can do. Boundaries reduce the need for superiority theater or spiritualizing avoidance. Practice stack for daily reps. Morning. 2 minutes of body scanning. Then 1 sentence about your first task in surveillance language. Midday. 1 humility rep. Evening. Write 1 moment you caught a claim. I am X. And how you chose function. 3 minutes each. This builds the musculature that makes protocol automatic. Avoid 2 pitfalls. Don't turn the protocol into virtue signaling. If you need to announce every humility rep, you're feeding the same fire from a new angle. And don't weaponize the protocol on others. You're an altitude language is a slick put down. Use the lens inward first. Invite others with questions, not diagnoses. A quick story. A creator kept slipping into teacher voice, shutting down her team. We used feel, fact, flag, function, ballast. In a meeting she felt heat in her face, said, "I notice my chest is tight," named the claim. "I'm the only one who sees it." Asked one person to restate the goal, then took notes instead of preaching. After, she sent a quiet thank you to the teammate who challenged her. 2 weeks later, her team spoke more, and her work got sharper. She didn't get smaller, she got real. Use the protocol like you'd use a seatbelt, automatic, unflashy, and they're every time you move. The less you perform the practice, the more powerful it becomes. When your fire stays in the hearth, warmth spreads without smoke. Advanced upgrades, practices that work. You've got the map, the traps, and the protocol. Now let's level up with practices that compress years into months, because they train the exact muscles grandiosity, bypassing, and toxic positivity weaken. These are upgrades you can slot into real life without going monastic. Start with the 3x3 presence drill. 3 times a day, for 3 minutes, you do 3 things: body, object, other. Body. Name 5 sensations without adjectives. Pressure in the calves, warmth in the palms. Object. Describe one thing in your environment like surveillance, blue mug, chipped rim, half full. Other. If you're with a person, reflect back one sentence they said verbatim. If you're alone, read one sentence you wrote and reflect its literal meaning. This drill rebalances Monas, Buddhi, and the DMN. Sensation first, then facts, then relationship. Do it at 9, 1, and 5. Put reminders in your calendar with no labels, just 3 dots. Next, run the weekly humility circuit. Pick 4 anchor reps and rotate daily. Anonymous service, explicit ownership, low glam labor, ask for help. Anonymous service means you fix or support something with 0 announcement. Restock supplies, edit a doc, pay for someone's lunch quietly. Explicit ownership, in one conversation, lead with, "Here's where I messed up and what I'm changing." Low glam labor. Choose a task your identity resists, data cleanup, trash, proofreading, and do it with care. Ask for help. Request concrete guidance from someone you rate, then follow it to the letter. This circuit puts ballast in the system and retrains Ahamkara to enjoy usefulness over image. Install the feedback dojo. 2 people, 1 cadence, 1 format. Monthly, 20 minutes each, cameras on. Round 1. They tell you one thing that worked and one that landed poorly. Noun and verb specific. Your only job is to mirror back the words you heard, then ask one clarifying question. Round 2. You state one change you'll test and when. No justifying, no cosmic framing. The dojo builds impact tolerance and keeps Buddhi honest. If you're a leader, make this a team norm. If you're solo, pair with a peer and a friend. 1 from your field, 1 from your life. Add non-dual relative pairing. For every hour of contemplative practice, schedule 1 hour of relational or logistical practice that touches the ground that day. Meditation pairs with repair. Breathwork pairs with boundary setting. Study pairs with a concrete deliverable. If you sit in the morning, send the repair text by noon. If you took a psychedelic recently, book a therapy session or a hard conversation within 72 hours. Insight wants form. Pairing prevents it from evaporating into identity. Use the 5-sentence repair script. When you've caused impact, keep it crisp. Sentence 1, surveillance of the event. Sentence 2, your impact as they reported it. Sentence 3, your felt emotion in a single word. Sentence 4, your change. Sentence 5, check-in. It sounds like, "Yesterday I cut you off twice. You said you felt dismissed. I feel embarrassed. I'm adding a 2-breath rule before I respond in meetings. Did I capture that?" Repairs don't need a sermon, they need accuracy and action. This aligns with best practices from communication training. Reflect, own, specify change, and verify. Run the Vasana audit once a week. Pick one recurring line your mouth says under stress. Write the line. Write 3 distinct situations you've said it in. Then answer 3 questions. What truth is this line trying to protect? What fear does it hide? What one alternative sentence would be truer and shorter? Practice the alternative out loud 5 times. You're not fighting the groove. You're offering it a better path. Practice the 2-seat awareness model. Seat 1 is the experiencer, body, emotion, urge. Seat 2 is the observer, narrator of facts and patterns. Spend 2 minutes in each seat, alternating, 5 rounds. Say out loud. Seat 1, tight jaw, anger, urge to argue. Then, seat 2, I'm noticing anger and the urge to argue. My pattern is rushing to defend. Rotate like that. This trains you to move between monos and buddhi without collapsing into identity. Finish with 1 sentence from the coordinator. Given both, the next useful move is X. Adopt the boundary trio. Before you set a boundary, clarify 3 things on paper: the behavior you're responding to, the feeling it creates in you, and the specific request with a time frame. When deadlines change same day, I feel anxious. I need 24 hours notice or a check-in before assigning new work. If the boundary is rejected, escalate to a consequence you can control, communicated calmly. Boundaries deflate performance because they ground power in clarity, not mystique. Schedule the service fast. 1 day a week, abstain from visible demonstrations of wisdom or leadership. No advice, no public teaching, no performative captions. You can still help, but privately and practically. Notice the itch to be seen as good. Let it pass. This fast resets reward circuitry hijacked by applause and reveals where identity tries to sneak back in. Close your day with the 3 lines. Line 1, 1 sentence of surveillance about a charged moment. Line 2, the I am claim you detected. Line 3, the smallest useful behavior you chose. That's it. Over time, the notebook becomes a humility archive. Read it monthly, and you'll watch the dragon shrink. These upgrades aren't fancy. That's the point. They build the invisible muscles: sensation tolerance, fact fidelity, repair speed, service without spectacle, that make grandiosity inconvenient, bypassing boring, and toxic positivity unnecessary. Keep them light, repeat them often, and let results, not rhetoric, prove they work. Relationships, where ego masks get stress tested. If you want to know whether your practice is real, don't look at your journal. Look at your relationships. Partners, friends, teams, family. They're the wind tunnel where every mask gets ripped at the seams. Why? Because relationships introduce variables you can't script. Competing needs, messy timing, unfiltered mirrors. Your solo practice controls conditions. Relationships remove the lab. Here's the pattern we've been mapping, now stress-tested in connection. Monos fires first: hurt, fear, desire. Ahamkara rushes in with identity. I'm the generous one. I'm awakened. I'm not responsible for your feelings. Buddhi gets drafted to defend the costume. Vasana supplies canned lines. Klesha paints your partner's face as threat or adoration. And then we wonder why the conversation goes sideways. Let's ground this in a couple of common scenes. Your partner says, "When you share teachings mid-argument, I feel dismissed." If you're in intellectual armor, you'll explain conflict styles and mirror neurons instead of saying, "I interrupted you." If you're in toxic positivity, you'll say, "Let's not focus on the negative. Can we raise the vibe?" If you're in enlightened narcissist mode, you'll diagnose, "That's your projection." All 3 avoid the simple repair the moment is asking for: acknowledgement, curiosity, and 1 behavioral change. Or take friendship. A friend cancels twice. Klesha colors it as disrespect. Vasana autoplays, "I'm always the one who cares more." Ahamkara grabs special suffering. "No one meets me at my depth." Buddhi collects evidence. Before you text, apply the protocol you've been practicing. Feel your tight chest. State 1 surveillance fact. You cancelled Tuesday and today. Name the claim. I'm telling myself I don't matter to you. Ask a real question. Is something up? I want to understand. That text keeps connection possible and your ego leashed. Teams are brutal mirrors for archetypal inflation. If you wear the king or priestess costume at work, you'll mistake leadership for theater. Watch for altitude creep in meetings. I'm holding the frequency when your team needs clarity on a deadline. Watch for impact denial. 3 people say, "We feel shut down," and your answer is, "This space can't hold my truth." In teams, usefulness beats purity. Ask, "What decision do you need from me?" Then make it, own it, and invite critique on the impact next week. Boundaries are where bypass loves to hide. In families, "I'm not attached" becomes permission to ghost. In partnerships, "I'm protecting my peace" becomes refusal to repair. The clean move is simple and human. When you joke about my career at dinner, I feel small. I need you to stop. Can you do that? If you're on the receiving end, the clean reply is, "Thank you for telling me. I can do that," or "I can try, and I'll ask you to flag it if I miss." That's how Ahamkara serves relationship instead of starring in it. Repair is the daily dojo. Use the 5-sentence script. Yesterday I checked my phone while you were opening up. You said you felt alone. I feel ashamed. I'm putting my phone in the other room during our talks. Did I get it? Notice what's not in there. No cosmic framing, no vibe talk, no self-deprecation performance. It's small, accurate, and actionable. That's what builds trust. Service without audience is the relationship cheat code. Inflation craves applause. Intimacy grows in unglamorous acts. You fold the laundry you didn't wear. You refill the car. You send the meeting notes. You sit with a friend's grief and say nothing for a minute. The moment you stop needing credit, grandiosity loses oxygen and connection breathes. 2 more friction points to watch. First, speed. If a spiritual sentence climbs out of your mouth before you've reflected back what you heard, stop. Say, "Let me mirror you first." Then paraphrase their words exactly. It slows Ahamkara down and signals safety. Second, scoreboard thinking. I apologized last time. It's your turn. That's comparison junkie energy. Trade turns for tasks. What would serve us right now? I can own my interruption. Can you tell me one thing you need tonight? A brief story. A couple kept looping. He taught, she withdrew. We installed 3 moves. She started with 1 sentence of surveillance per conflict. He mirrored before offering any insight. Both added 1 anonymous service rep a day. In 2 weeks, tone shifted. He felt less urgent to perform wisdom. She felt seen enough to ask for what she wanted. The content of their fights didn't vanish. The ego choreography did. Here's the core. Relationships make your practice visible. Humility looks like being correctable, reparable, and plain useful to the people you love. Detachment looks like staying steady without going cold. Power looks like taking responsibility first, not last. If your light can sit at the dinner table, show up to a hard talk, and take out the trash without narrating, it's real. If it can't, the wind tunnel will tell you. Listen, adjust, try again tomorrow. Measuring progress without feeding ego. Progress you can trust looks boring on the outside and specific on the inside. Use 3 quiet metrics: reps, repairs, and results. Reps, count behaviors, not vibes. How many feel, fact, flag, function. Ballast loops did you run this week? How many weekly humility circuit reps did you complete? Track with digits, not adjectives. 5 loops. 3 reps, numbers don't preen. Repairs, measure speed and completeness. How long between impact and your 5-sentence repair? Did you mirror, name impact, state change, and check in? Shorter time, cleaner format, fewer justifications. That's growth. Put timestamps in a note. Results. Check for relational and functional outcomes. Are conflicts resolving faster? Do teammates speak more? Did the boring task get done on time? Outcome audits once a month keep Buddhi honest without turning life into a scoreboard. Run 2 guardrails so the tracker doesn't become a trophy. First, anonymity. At least half your reps are audience-free. If you can't resist announcing them, that's a signal to add ballast. Second, variance. Include 1 measure that could make you look worse short-term, like number of times I asked for help. If that goes up, good, ego is loosening. Finally, build a tiny review ritual. Weekly, write 3 lines. 1 surveillance sentence about a charged moment, 1 claim detected, 1 useful behavior taken. Close the notebook. Reflection, not performance. The takeaway: real progress is humble, behavioral, and visible in relationships, not in slogans or status. If this helped, subscribe, and watch the next video on building critique rituals that grow teams and keep ego leashed. Share this with 1 person who loves good vibes only and wants skills that actually work.